Hi, you are watching The Wounded Healer with Carrie Ann. I am Carrie Ann, your host, and I am here. I'm going to be introducing Marissa Wagenberg and Patricia Wolfson from Sue's Soul Camp to talk to you guys today about some activities. I felt like this was a really good fit for mental health because I just know as someone who suffered with debilitating anxiety at different points in my life, structured activities are a really great way to get to know other people. There's a beginning, there's an activity, there's an end. If you go to enough different activities, you will find like-minded people, you'll pick up hobbies, someone is going to talk to you, say hello, ask your questions, and you'll be able to, have conversations. Isolation is such a huge part of s- of mental health, of one of the things that people struggle with in the mental health community. And so connecting with other individuals is really, really important. And like I said, a structured activity is oftentimes a really great way to go because it takes a lot of the social anxiety out of your interactions. So I'm going to bring on Marissa and Patricia, and they are going to tell you what Sue's Soul Camp is doing and what they're offering. Hi,
Well,
ladies. How are you?
hi, how are
Hi,
you?
how are you?
Good, good. Good to see you. And I guess we're just going to jump right into it. Sue's Soul Camp. I know that you have actually a couple of different businesses that you run, but Sue's Soul Camp is one of them. Um, tell us, tell us what Sue's Soul Camp is.
Okay.
Okay.
um, you know, Sue's Soul Camp, and now you're right. Both Marissa and I, we have been sort of in the healing world, in sort of that spiritual community for a long time now. I'm sort of coming out of the closet, so to speak, for several
Sure.
years, right? And so our collective mission has always been, how can we positively impact ourselves, each other, and the community, right? Because essentially, if it's something that you need, something that you're craving, and Sue's Soul Camp, or the first sort of seeds of it, were planted during COVID,
Ah,
because we, had each other. We would talk to each other, and we were like, I need to be around people. It was when we were very isolated, of course,
yes.
and we both felt the desire to create a community of support, because it was so needed, and we had found that support in each other, and we were like, let's spread that support. Let's show people we can create a community of people who, it's like, let's just get together and just be who we are in this moment, supporting each other. And so it started with us doing moon circles, because we hadn't, like, we both wanted to go to a moon circle, and we were like looking for moon circles on Long Island, and we're like, what,
Right.
like, let's make one that's we do, because well, number one, it'll be close to us and easy to show up to, right? Because that's really what all of this is. It's like, how can we help ourselves and then include the greater community in it? And so after doing sort of these moon circles that Marissa and I had done together,
Mhm.
eventually it started to make sense to us, like, let's expand this. It just
Mhm.
doesn't have to be moon circles. We can offer a space that has workshops. We can offer a space that where people get to sort of connect to that inner child, because of course we do all our events at a camp, so
Mhm.
it has that energy of like that youthful, like, camp energy, that
Yes.
participation. It's play, it's fun. And
It's all centered on play and fun because healing sometimes can be really hard and not fun.
not fun.
And so we really wanted to showcase a different side
Yeah.
of healing where you get to have fun and you can see how much you can actually heal by allowing for play and fun in your life.
And bringing the community into it helps, right? Where, because it's like, hey, let's all do this together and let's have fun together. Because when you're trying to get better or feel better, you have to embody what better looks like to you in that moment. And what better, a lot of betters, but what better situation than in an environment where it's like small steps are okay, fun steps are okay,
Right.
no steps are okay too. Just join us and hang out.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't have to be hard. You know,
Right.
sometimes we make things so much harder than they actually need to be. And like all you actually need to do is just create space and time to have fun. And that's it. And that's really what Sioux Soul Camp is all about. It's
Totally.
about, you know, for those of us who are mothers or who are parents, we will spend any amount of money on our children's, you know,
And
amount of
countless
fun
hours.
and so many hours devoted to like their development and their fun. But when it comes to actually turning that around on ourselves, it's so hard. And I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it can be.
And we don't know when it happened, because we used to have fun as kids, and
Mhm.
and that's really part of it too. It's like we used to have fun at some point. I mean, maybe not everybody, and you know, that's their path and their journey, and hopefully they get support with that. But on a very generalized scale of us as women and us as mothers specifically, because that's, you know, how we identify in the world, it's like, when did we stop being fun? When did we stop connecting with like just silliness, right? Like, because as a mom, you gotta clean up, you gotta, like, someone does, like, brings out glitter, you're like, I have to clean that. You know, like, it's no longer, let's just, I mean, I don't know, I think Marissa loves glitter in her
I
house.
do. I like glitter everywhere, always.
Always and everywhere.
But that's like the energy that we want to bring to Soul
Yeah.
Camp, is like all glitter all the time.
Exactly. It's glitter, it's fun, it's like, don't worry about the mess, you know, like, it's
Right.
just
We're gonna clean
just
up
have
the
fun.
mess
We'll
there.
take care of it for you.
Yeah, and we have access to this beautiful camp that's 22 acres with all different kinds of amazing activities that will really help to bring out your inner child, your sense of fun. And all of our workshops are just so supported, you know, by us and by whichever facilitators that are coming in to help lead these events. And that's our goal, is to just help you have fun, to meet other people who are like-minded. You know, there is usually, although not always, some sort of spiritual element, you know, where you're getting in touch with yourself, or but the goal is really for fun and play.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the things with, you know, certainly things that I teach all the time in terms of shifting energy, because that's always my focus, is the number one way to shift energy is movement, right? It's to physically move the energy. And it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go to CrossFit, you know, you don't have to run 75 miles, right? You can just choose to move yourself in a different way. It doesn't have to be anything other than a different choice. And we want to provide that space where you can make a different choice around other people who are also making a different choice, making that feel a little safer, right? We stop ourselves from doing things because they don't feel safe, right? It's like old school, used to go to a school dance, or, you know, and there'd be like nobody on the dance floor, right? Like, there's nobody on the dance floor, nobody's dancing, the music's great, and you're sitting there going, God, somebody get on the dance floor, because I just want to go on the dance floor, but I can't be first because it's embarrassing, because you don't know how to, like, act, right? All of a sudden, some brave soul steps out and says, I'm going to dance. And suddenly it opens up the space. And suddenly people are like, oh, it's okay to dance. I can step on that dance floor, and I'm going to make it safe for them because they just made it safe for me. And then now, before you know it, you're having a party and everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I love the idea of, you know, play, not just as a way to heal, but just as a way to get in touch with that younger self too, you know, before maybe all the responsibility hit, you know. And I I think it makes you a better parent too, you know, when you're able to kind of kick back with people, you know, in your age group and have your own kind of fun, you know. You go into life a little more relaxed. Yeah, so
I'll tell you a story of what happened at an event that I did, which happened at our camp. And I did this event called Camp Mom. And one of the things we did is we had the trapeze, and we had the
Mm.
people who came to the event. Part of the thing was they were going to go off the trapeze. Now, these are grown women, not like people who normally do the trapeze. Like, this is like you, me going on the trapeze. And because you were talking about how it brings us closer to makes us better parents, brings us closer to our children. So at this camp, every day in the summer, there's like, all these kids that go on the trapeze, and nobody thinks twice, right? Everybody's like, oh yeah, whatever age, 5, 6, 12, everybody's
Sure.
going on the trapeze, right? When some of those women got to the top and realized the courage it took to jump off that platform,
Mm.
their thoughts of their children shifted, where they were like, wow, this is scary. Like, when they did this,
Yep.
and I need to do this. And now they get the perspective that their child had. So when their child says that was really scary, they're like, oh my God, I know. That was terrifying. You were so brave. You did it. And you validate it from a different perspective because you're
Yeah.
experiencing it from a different perspective. And that was one of the gifts that I hadn't even thought about at the time.
Yeah.
We did an event like that where it was like, wow. All of a sudden, people are like, I never gave my child credit at how brave they must have been to jump off that platform. It was scary. And that happened to me on the zip line, which was another thing we did, where I went to go, I was like, wait, I have to jump off this thing? And people were like, yep. And I'm like, I don't know if I can jump. And then I was like, oh my God, my little one who's like 6 is jumping off, no problem, let's go. And it makes you look at things a little bit differently. And I think that's really helpful for any relationship.
And I love it that, I mean, tell us a little bit more about your space, because, I didn't realize with the trapeze and that you were doing the zip lining. That's great.
Yeah, so we're running all different events and offering all different kinds of stuff. So we have crafty nights where you can come and, make some beautiful arts and crafts. And there's usually some snacks. And if you want to have a drink, there's a drink. And
we did fairy gardens.
Yeah, we made fairy gardens.
That was
we've
awesome.
also offered trapeze workshops where it's you're not just doing the trapeze. There's also elements of, okay, get in touch with yourself and really figure out what is holding you back in your life and what are you want to let go of. And before you're jumping off the trapeze, you're also energetically letting go of, what is holding you back in your life. So there's that. We do moon yoga circles, which are absolutely beautiful.
So good.
And I don't think there's anything like that anywhere.
Well, we had evolved. We were doing moon circles, and that went really well, and we really enjoyed it. And then a friend of ours was a yoga teacher, and amazing. And we started thinking, let's add that element. And so instead of the usual sun salutations, she said, they have moon salutations.
Yeah, and it's a way of just getting in your body, so it's we're still doing all that spiritual moon circle stuff, but first you have to get in your body, and it's just making you really present. So we offer that. We have done pole dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And we do things like that to connect with that, that sensual side of you, because who gets to do that really? I mean,
right.
Even if you have a very healthy sex life, there is an aspect of the sensual woman that we don't get an opportunity to connect with it because it's so tied into, how, you don't look good anymore and you can't be sexy. And, what do you have to offer the world after 45? And so we're
and there's different layers also. So there are different people who are healing from different traumas, and, just giving themselves permission to move their body in a certain way can be so healing. And again, every event that we are offering is done in the most supportive, healing way, where not only are we doing it with you, but we're cheering you on and holding your hand every step of the way.
Very much so. And there's a big piece that we've mentioned it a few times, but I want to point out, where it's a space where you have permission to connect with yourself. You have permission to have fun. You have permission to feel all the things that we're told to bottle up all the time, that we've been trained to keep quiet and keep to ourselves. We've created a safe space where you can let it out, whatever that might be.
Right. And I mean, wow, you guys have definitely like a diverse array of activities so far that you're offering. So I love that. It seems like there's something for everyone. I want to know a little bit more about the moon circle, because there are a lot of our viewers that may not know, like what a moon circle is, or what does that do, or what is the
Yeah,
energy of the moon. So maybe describe a little bit about that.
sure. So the moon in its different phases, it helps us, depending on its phase, energetically. So for a full moon, it's a really beautiful time for you to release anything that's no longer serving you. For a new moon, it's a beautiful time for you to plant seeds of intention and to call forth anything that you are hoping to create. So when we do our moon yoga, hopefully if you can come to one that's under the moon and under the stars, weather permitting, it's so beautiful.
Wow.
But we do also have an indoor space in case we can't. But and for I don't think that there's ever been a moon circle or moon yoga that's been the same twice. Like they always
No, no, they're
change
not.
depending on energetically what's coming in, depending on what we're
Our
feeling
inspiration.
called, or if there's like certain angels or energetic, beings that are kind of telling us to go a certain way. But we start out with just some very gentle yoga. You do not have to be
Yes,
a
gentle.
yogi. We are not putting our legs behind our heads and doing like this is like yoga for everybody.
Yeah, it's like yoga basics. It's
Yeah,
like you
it's
breathe
very-
and
yeah.
connect your breath to your movement. That's
Yes,
it. It's
and-
literally like learn to breathe.
Yeah, and Donna, who's our friend who teaches yoga, I call her the body whisperer because
She's so good.
she just like if something is hurting you or tight, you tell Donna and she'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And so after we get present in our body during the yoga, again, depending on which type of moon there is and what we're being called, to do, we'll sort of set the intention of, okay, start thinking or noticing maybe what you're struggling with and what you want to release, and then just allow it to kind of come up during the yoga. After the yoga, by the way, we have healers that go around and we we give everybody energy healings, and Donna gives everybody that wants reflexology.
She like rubs
so-
people's feet. It's so beautiful.
So good. So usually by then you're like, wet needle.
Yes, and because we do that, we have limited space if we're doing things indoors because
Sure.
it's very personal. We really try to be very hands-on because we want this to be a nourishing experience for everybody. This is not like let's jam-pack people in a room. We want to create this nourishing community where people can really feel that energy and that transformation, taking advantage of like the cosmic prompts, for our energy to help use that, to lead us in where we need to go.
Yeah. So usually after that like healing portion, oftentimes we'll do journaling, sometimes we draw, but again, like you're not sharing your drawings, you do not have to be an artist. Again, like anything goes really. And then after that portion, we always have a fire pit going. So that's always, sometimes we're burning stuff. The fire pit, regardless, is burning energy always. We actually we planted in the spring actual seeds of intention. We made an intention soup one time. Like
we got
everybody,
this dissolvable
Great.
dissolvable paper, like water soluble paper, and so
Right.
everybody wrote their intentions because it was a new moon. They wrote their intentions, and we put it in like a pot of
baby
water.
pool. Yeah, we put it in like a baby pool, and we all took turns mixing it up, and everybody brought their intention water home, and everybody did different things with it.
Yeah, they used it like to plant their, to water the seeds, or you put it in your backyard, or
Yeah. So it's always evolving, it's always changing, and it's always really beautiful, supportive, and healing.
very
Yeah.
much so.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, it's kind of endless, the ideas that you come up with. It's actually really a gift to be able to come up with so many different ways to embody certain energies, I think. So for people who want to participate or get in touch with you, I have your Instagram and your Facebook scrolling on the bottom of the screen now. You can get in touch with Marissa or Patricia in either of those ways,
Mhm.
Instagram or Facebook. And basically, well, tell people where you're located, where you guys are
Yeah,
doing your
sure. So
activities.
all of our events take place at Driftwood Day Camp in Melville.
Okay. All right. So that's great. And you said that's a really large campus with plenty of room and plenty of
Mhm.
different activities.
Yeah.
Um, now the goddess gatherings, is that the same? Is it the same thing, or it's like an element of your
It
of the
was it was the evolution. So
okay,
Sioux Soul Camp is the evolution of Goddess
goddess
Gathering. So
gatherings?
when we
Okay.
first started doing just the moon circles, we were like, what are we going to call this? And we're like, Goddess Gatherings, like we're doing moon circles. Let's call to our people. I mean, let's
Yeah.
call a spade here. Who's going to moon circles? Goddesses.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
do want to say that all genders are welcome.
Oh, very much so.
For our events.
And the evolution included that, even calling it Sioux Soul Camp and not making about the
Yeah.
people, but really about here's the space, here's the space that we want to grow in together and play in together.
I get it. Yeah, I get it now. It makes sense. It started with the moon circles, and then you guys really have evolved into a much wider array of activities to include so many others. And I've been to one of your gatherings, and there were men there.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, doing
Everyone's
the
welcome.
yoga. Yeah, yep. So basically, I wanted to also talk about, because Patricia has something called Me First Mornings.
Yes.
Um, I mean, I know you're on hiatus right now for the
Yes.
summer,
Yes.
but you'll be starting up again in the fall. And Me
Yes.
First Mornings, I used to tune in pretty frequently, and I will be again, because it's just a really great way to start the day. Tell us a little bit about Me First Mornings, how that evolved, and where you're going with things.
Okay, yeah, I would love to. So Me First Mornings Me First was a concept that I came up with like 13 years ago as I was waiting for like hours for my son to fall asleep in bed. And I was just like, God, I need a solution to my life, where it's like
Yeah.
they didn't sleep. I was exhausted. And, so I got this idea of Me First. Anyway, over literally 13 years, it's evolved. And I realized like something that always came up in the healing world was like, creating a morning ritual. And I'm not really good at creating habits of any kind. I most definitely have ADHD, not diagnosed. I don't care. I identify, 100% self-diagnosed, and like legit, I'm like every single check. And so I realized that I'm the type of person that I don't really show up for myself with certain things that are difficult, right? And so
Mhm.
creating a morning routine was difficult for me. However, I love television and I love people and I love bringing people into my world and having
Okay.
people do things with me. That's really how it started. And so Me First Mornings started as me saying, okay, I'm committing to a morning routine and this is what I'm going to do each day. And you guys are going to show up and help me do this. Like it was like, I'm going to do this for you. We're going to do this together. And as that evolved, Me First is really about calibrating yourself before you go out into the world, right? And so I call it Me First Mornings because typically people wake up in the morning, but this can work at any time of day.
Sure.
If you're feeling dysregulated, if you're feeling any feelings that you're uncomfortable with, right? And you have to feel them and you have to sit with them. But then what do you do? How do you move on with your day? And so Me First became sort of me looking at it from that perspective and then showing people what I do. So Me First is an acronym, and how it has evolved now is move energy, focus inward. Okay, that's the first part where it's like no matter what's happening in your life, if you don't feel good about something, if you're feeling disconnected, you have to move the energy and then focus inward and ask yourself, what do I need? Because you have to calibrate yourself. Like any person, I like to use instruments as an example, right? If you go and you're playing in a symphony, you have to tune your instrument first. Otherwise, you're going to throw the entire orchestra, right? So
Yes.
Me First is me first, tune my instrument first, move energy, focus inward. And then the next part, which is the RST, right, is the R is relationships. It's like relating to others. Because once you've calibrated yourself, then you can relate to others from a grounded place. Like, this is what I want. This is who I am. This is how I show up in the world. And now, if I'm clear on me, then you can be who you are, but you won't shake me from my groundedness because I'm calibrated, right? So it's either like, oh, what you're saying sounds wonderful, or it's like, you know what, that doesn't resonate with me. And that's okay, right? So that's the R. And then the S and the T is about showing up as your authentic self. So how are you, right? And you have to decide, if I'm calibrated to my energy, then I'm going to show up as my authentic self. And the trust piece, which is the FIRST, the trust is trust in the universe. So if you're doing the work, if you're moving your energy and you're focusing inward and you're calibrating yourself, you're relating, and then you're able to trust in the universe and allowing things to sort of fall where they may. And so my show that I do when I bring it back in the fall will be Monday through Friday. We start every single morning together, is about learning how to navigate the energy and learning how to set yourself up for your day. So if you finish watching the show, then you can go out and go, okay, I'm clear on what I'm doing today. I'm clear on how I'm showing up today. And that's really my goal, is to make people feel good about showing up in the most authentic way possible.
Yeah, it's like I said, I mean, for the viewers who haven't seen it, Me First Mornings is a great way to start the morning. But you're so right, because there are times where I didn't catch it in the morning, and maybe at lunchtime at work, I would see that it had been on, and I would be able to catch it for a little while. And it does help you kind of settle into your day, or like just ground yourself, for the day. Just a lot of the topics that I found that you covered. So I
And
don't know.
the show, just for people to know, where like I begin the show each time with my ritual. Like, we take deep breaths together, we shake out energy, we say a prayer. Like, I take you, the viewers, through my ritual, and then I address whatever the energy of the day is. Then let's talk about how to approach money, how to approach relationships, how to approach these things using the Me First philosophy. So even if you just tune in for the first like 10 minutes, you're going to tune into the ritual. And if that doesn't interest you, then tune in 15 minutes later and you'll catch the rest.
And yeah, I guess. Well, you do even say during your ritual, if you have your own ritual, you can go
Yes.
and like do that. You don't have to.
Sometimes, if you have your own ritual, it's like, of course, do your own thing. But
Yeah.
sometimes if you don't, and you're like, just give me something. Like, when I was beginning my spiritual journey, I was like, what do I say? And it's like, and people would be like, well, you can say this. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. And eventually I pieced together my own prayer. I pieced together my own communication. And that's what Me First is. It's like, I don't want you to do my routine. I want you to do your routine. I want
Right.
you to connect with yourself.
And how do people tune into Me First Mornings?
So that would be YouTube. So literally it's like
Okay.
Me First. I think it's, I'm like, I think Me First. I think it's I'm like, is it Me First Mornings? I should check. It's been a while. Or is it? Hold on. I'm like checking as we speak right
now. Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
Yeah, Me First Mornings. Oh, now you can hear my voice. Okay, yeah. It's at Me First Mornings. So
okay, on YouTube.
When you look up Me First Mornings, it'll get you there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you can see there's lots of episodes there now for people who are looking for something in the meantime to kind of just get calibrated.
Yeah. So, I mean, there it is, basically. I mean, two moms, just doing it, being moms and doing the thing, bringing the community, into their spaces, and trying to help people just connect with each other, and most of all with themselves. I think that's great. Of course, anyone can message me for information, and I will direct you to Marissa and Patricia. And, I'm just happy to have had you ladies on the show. I thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I always love seeing you.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much. It really was our pleasure.
And we love to see you too. And
Yes.
thank you for
Aw, thanks, ladies. I'll say goodbye for now and talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.